you. You see, tie all the stories together, they're connected one way or the other.
Of course.
Prior to this time, there have been forces that do not want Nigeria to do well. Some of them external, but they are in close connivance with local forces because of the greed. It's not today it started happening. You think the colonial masters just colonized us? What about the people that sold their own brothers for Schnapp and Mirror? That's what's happening all over again. Obasanjo.
Hello, wonderful followers and subscribers of Oligo Son. I hope this video finds you well. Now, guys, Rufai Oseni has exposed the corruption in the oil sector. You understand? Under Tinubu. Now, remember, Peter Obi before election spoke about the oil theft in the country, and he did say that government, you understand, and the security agency, they are aware of those stealing this oil. You understand? So a lot of people were thinking that maybe Buhari was too dull, illiterate, this and that. But now under Buhari, Toney Elumelu has come out again to speak, saying that the oil theft, this oil we are talking about, is not just a mineral under a coke bottle. You understand? We are talking of people that bring in truck, bring in shit to take oil. Do you understand? Now, this video is very, very deep. It's very, very loaded. Watch it to the end, please. Let me know your thoughts on this on the comment section. All right. God bless you.
Toney Elumelu charged the federal government of Nigeria and security agents to disclose those who steal the country's crude oil. Elumelu made the comment in an interview published by the Financial Times. The businessman also disclosed how former President Muhammadu Buhari and his chief of staff, the late Abba Kyari, blocked him from purchasing an oil field in 2017 after raising $2.5 billion for the deal. Elumelu said that he was told Nigeria could not allow something of such strategic importance to fall into the hands of a private operator, which according to him defied logic, since he would have been purchasing the oil field from a foreign company, he said. He's also said that, the oil theft has contributed to the divestment of international oil companies in Nigeria. Let me just take his tweet, if you can pull up a statement from that Financial Times. Toney Elumelu said, "This is oil theft. We're not talking about stealing a bottle of Coke you can put in your pocket. The government should know. They should tell us. Look at America. Donald Trump was shot at, and quickly they knew the background of who shot him. Our security agencies should tell us who is stealing our oil. You bring vessels to our territorial waters, and we don't know." But last month, actually, operatives of the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder uncovered over 200,000 liters of alleged illegally refined diesel at a private residence in Rivers State. Let's take a look.
It's not sacks of rice. It's liquid. Liquid is inside all of them. Come. You see? This is crude oil. This is crude oil. It's crude oil. So it's a major operation. It's ongoing. A massive operation. The Nigerian Navy, led by this man here, Commodore Desmond Igbo, is the commander of the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder. They discovered this place inside somebody's compound. Okay, you people tried. You people found this place. So they said they've arrested 2 people, and they are still trying to track down the other people because it's a massive operation that's ongoing here. Now look at this. You can see this is crude. Look at it. You see that? Everywhere. Massive operation ongoing here.
Well, kudos to the Nigerian Navy right there, Rufai.
Truth has to be said, don't you? You see, tie all the stories together, they're connected one way or the other.
Of course.
Prior to this time, there have been forces that do not want Nigeria to do well. Some of them external, but they are in close connivance with local forces because of the greed. It's not today it started happening. You think the colonial masters just colonized us? What about the people that sold their own brothers for Schnapp and Mirror? That's what's happening all over again. Obasanjo and that refinery, he called NNPC, he called Shell. Shell wouldn't touch it because they knew it was a cesspit of corruption with the NNPC. Guess what? He finally sold it to Dangote. When Dangote said he was going to revamp it, those same people connived to just tell Yar'Adua that they can fix it. All this while they've been collecting money, they've not fixed it. Now, they've already collected another $1 billion to service it again, or $1 or $2 billion. Nothing is coming out of it. We're still waiting for them. They said this month. So that cycle of corruption continues. And those that want to do it, they will not allow them to do it. People like Dangote that because of that, now said I will go build my own refinery. They are frustrating him. This was the same NNPC that said, okay, we'll take 20% equity. Part of the equity was supposed to also be ensuring that Dangote gets crude. And there are laws on ground. But you can see the frustrating process the man is going through now. See, I'm not saying Dangote doesn't have his own problems. I'm not saying anybody is a saint in this country. But can we allow, at least let this man work for the interests of Nigerians? Can we allow this refinery to get to the light of day? You can see all sorts of people talking everywhere. It's because of their own interests. I am talking about the interest of Nigeria. How can we ensure that we have local refining? That's the most important thing. See the illegal refining going on in rivers. See what is happening to Elumelu saying crude oil theft. Is it angels from the sky that are coming to steal the crude oil?
Yeah.
You think people don't know what it is? But you see, when you have a country where special interest is over the interest of Nigerians, the country can never grow. All of a sudden, these people are so high and mighty, you can't bring them down all this while. Tantita has tried. The Navy will make effort and everything, but it continues. So there is something definitely wrong. It also ties around the international dimension. Look at David Owodeyi talking over the weekend. So there's also an international dimension to all of these things.
That's the point.
And let me tell you something. Except we sort out the greed of those that connive with the external forces, Nigeria will never move forward.
Right.
Many years down the line, we'll keep talking about these issues, like we've been talking about refining for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, Toney Elumelu's statement where he said, I mean, we're not talking about a bottle of Coke here. We're talking about crude oil theft. How can we be a thriving nation if our, oil keeps getting stolen in the manner that we saw in Rivers State, just in that video right there? But Rufai has mentioned David Hundeyin. We saw that story of investigative journalist David Hundeyin. He had put out a statement saying a London-based NGO was attempting to bribe him to vilify the Dangote refinery. Well, let me read some excerpts of his statement there. He wrote, last week, I received an 800,000 naira offer from an international NGO to write an article essentially saying that Dangote refinery is terrible for the environment because of environmental concerns. I'm putting this out there publicly so that nobody will henceforth use the term conspiracy theory when it is pointed out for the upping time that there are American and European state and private interests that are heavily invested in keeping Africa exactly as poor as it is, and that they regularly push levers most of us do not even know exist to make sure that this status quo is protected. It is not the rich white men hiding behind these climate advocacy NGOs who will tell us what to do with our energy reserves and by what means we are allowed to escape the poverty that they engineered for us. I mean, this is very, very strange because you know that David Hundeyin is a strong critic of the Dangote refinery and all of that. And we've always talked about this climate change and what it means for Africa. I mean, he made a very valid point, which is it's not the white men that will tell us what we need to do. We too, we have our own scientists. We're able to tell what will work for us. Go ahead.
I think it's quite rich that the West will tell Nigerians or African countries, especially since they are the biggest emitters of carbon, especially in terms of the world contribution to carbon emissions, Africa is still playing very small. So they shouldn't magnify it on our continent. I think just to put it out there. However, in terms of there being a point around the impact on the environment of the refinery, there's a point there. But Dangote refinery is not the only refinery in the world that is refining local crude. And the question you would ask is that I'm sure for a project like this, an environment impact assessment was done. And the Nigerian government approved that approved the refinery being put up. But I think the bigger conversation around this is the fact that there are deeper interests in this Dangote refinery matter, such that they are willing to sponsor people to write articles against the refinery. So it goes back to that question, and I think Mr. Elumelu also raised it, that who are the people behind, who are the cabal members who are behind, number one, not wanting to see local refineries work? I've maintained the fact that it's not just about Dangote refinery. All the local refineries in Nigeria, whether it's a Port Harcourt, Warri, any one of them not working, there are people who are bent on the fact that it must not work. And we cannot talk about the impact of these refineries working for energy security in Nigeria. We've talked about this a number of times. And that then leads us to crude oil theft. Already we were saying that the amount of money we spend on exporting, importing back our oil as PMS is a lot. Then talk about what we're even trying to export to gain revenue being stolen, the commonwealth of the people. The number is staggering, and Nigerians should be very concerned.
Absolutely.
Mr. Elumelu puts it at 95%. That is something.
Yes.
Do you know how much money is being lost on a daily basis to crude oil theft?
Yes.
It should be a national emergency, and billions of money has been given to Tantisa Security to secure pipelines. How much money, how can we justify that amount of money being spent on a contract awarded to an outfit to ensure that oil theft reduces? Nevertheless, we keep talking about this. We keep hurting local businesses, local investments, until we fix the cabal or the interest of people in the oil and gas sector, we'll just continue talking and nothing will happen, and Nigerians will continue to bleed and lose a lot of money.
Yes, I mean, this is the point you have just made. I mean, we've been talking about dream killers here. I would also refer again to Toney Elumelu's statement where he said, former President Muhammadu Buhari and, his former, may his soul rest in peace, Abba Kyari stopped his deal at that time, $2.5 billion in 2017. Imagine, and it was that he was going to be buying it from a foreign company, not a Nigerian company. What was that excuse for? But it's also good for everybody to keep speaking. Atiku Abubakar, former vice president, has also warned against any deliberate attempts to delay the progress of the Dangote refinery, hailing it as a significant private sector project positioned to meet the country's energy and foreign exchange needs. Atiku, in a post on X, called on all Nigerians to take resolute actions to provide reassurance that both internal and external forces are not collaborating to prevent us from reaping the benefits promised by this eagerly anticipated transformative endeavor. I mean, I think Atiku really summed it up. I mean, the Dangote refinery absolutely continues to need support from Nigerians and Africans at large. While President Olusegun Obasanjo has been trending on social media after he stated during an interview over the weekend that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company has always known that it can't manage our refineries, but only are interested in siphoning funds. Obasanjo spoke when he hosted some members of the House of Representatives in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital.
When I was president, I went and called Shell. I said, Shell, look, come and help us. On the refinery, take part. You can take 10%, you can take 20%, but come on. They said no. They said to me, the corruption among the refinery, they did not want to get involved. Some Nigerians got together. They paid $750 million. I said, God has sent this one. My successor said, he turned it down. I ran to him and I said, look, you know this is not right. He said, well, NNPC said they can do it. I said, NNPC cannot do it. NNPC, I think you are investigating $1.5 billion that NNPC has spent on refineries since then, and the refineries will not work. But I told my successor that the refineries, from what I have heard and know, will not work. And when you want to sell it, you will not get anybody to buy it for $200 million as scrap. And that is the situation we are in now. So why do we do this type of thing to ourselves? NNPC knew that they cannot. but they knew that they can eat and carry on with the corruption that was going on in NNPC.
All right, Obasanjo there has spoken very well. This weekend I called him an elder spokesman. He's spoken for the elders and for the nation. A great elder speech right there. But he said a lot of things during that interview with members of the House of Representatives. He also talked about the characters that are in leadership. He said they should be arrested. But I love the point that he made about NNPC not working. He was the president at the time. He said that he met with Shell. And they gave him 5 good reasons why they wouldn't partner with, or work with the refineries. One is that, they're too small. And he also talked about the fact that the corruption within the NNPC is just too much for them to, work with. But I think you saw this story. We saw this tweet that was quite viral. I would like to pull it up before our next story. This is from Nigeria Stories. They tweeted just in, Port Harcourt refinery to produce 12 million liters of petrol daily. It will begin operations this month. And there was a response right there. Is the refinery aware? I thought that was so funny. Is the refinery aware? Because we've been talking about this refinery. You made that mention last weekend when we highlighted the Elumelu story. You talked about the fact that when he was on the morning show, he said by August that the Port Harcourt refinery will be working. So we have 2 more weeks before that deadline, right? But let me take this.